It's looking good this time. Well, it was 9 above 0 when I walked out here on the line. Yeah, when I hopped down off that plane, I knew I was back for a real good time. Last night in Christchurch, there's buildings falling down everywhere. Trains breaking up the road, devastation everywhere I declare. But when I touch down in Invercargill, 9 above 0, hey, that's my town. Last night, 3 hours sleep the night before. Talking so much, child, I need a lemon and honey drink, I'll tell you what, that's for sure. Well, the old Malt Purcell Sauv Blanc feels much better than me. Might get me 2 or 3 bottles more. Play some on me, Marty. This is my kind of day. Landing in Invercargill just one more time. My kind of day. Landing in Invercargill one more time. There is 9 way above 0, and we are here for a real good time. There you go. Is that what you want? A long time ago. I'm in my 60s now. I'm enjoying this lot of 60s, so thinking about the other 60s.
In the house down in Icefield we used to practice in,
oh, that's right.
They burned it down. Burnt my guitar with it.
Oh, that's right. Actually, Dave Garrick will be here. That's one you can talk to, Simon, the guy who owned that house. He's flying in from Melbourne tomorrow. And he's got a great memory. He'll remember. Now, you ain't ever had to cry, baby. Don't start crying now. You never did it before. Don't do you no good no how. Well, I sang for you yesterday, and here you come today. Yeah, I sang for you yesterday, here you come today. You got your eyes wide open, baby, don't believe what you say. Well, you can cry, cry, baby, you can cry, cry all night long. Hey, baby, cry, cry all night long. You never did it before, don't do your dad no wrong. Hey, you brag about your woman, won't you take one look at mine? Hey, you brag about your woman, won't you take one look at mine? She's a sweet little angel, means a look most all the time. Well, I sent for you yesterday, and here you come today. Yeah, sent for you yesterday, and here you come today. Eyes wide open, and I don't believe a word I say. And you can cry, cry, baby, you can cry, cry all night long. You can cry, cry, baby, you can cry, cry all night long. Never did you know, baby, never did you know wrong. Here's the last one. You never did it before, now you're doing your old man wrong. Hey.
Yeah. Hello there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Unknown Blues, mid-1960s here in Invercargill in Southland. Decided to form a band with some friends. Barry I went to Marist Brothers School with. Another guy, Phil Sharman, lived in Crawford Street, and we were listening to lots of, God, what year was it, Barry? 64 or 5? You know, we were listening to stuff like the Rolling Stones and that before they wrote Satisfaction. They did records, our little blues band, and we thought we could do that. And it took a couple of years to get it together. That's how it started.
66, which time?
That was the first public one, but I reckon we mucked around for about a year trying to figure out how to tune up our guitars to your standards. And he's still the best guitar tuner I ever met.
Right.
So is it the rock scene that inspired you to get a band together?
I think it was being a teenager and seeing all these. There was always a lot of music around when I was growing up. Like before all that Rolling Stones, Beatles, Pretty Things era, there was the old rock and roll, wasn't it, Barry?
Yeah.
Like we always listened to Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis and Buddy Holly and all that, and a lot of good New Zealand music like Max Merritt and Ray Columbus and Johnny Devlin and all that. And it was all good stuff.
We've still got some of those records.
And I was, you know, this sounds pretty perverse. My parents separated when I was quite young, and I was quite happy about that because I was sent to live in the path I was going down.
So you're inspired by the music that's been made today?
Some of it. I went out the other night and had a guy called Charlie played the music there. I don't like a lot of music now, but there's still music out there I like. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. And Barry, for me to start coming back 3 or 4 years ago, I've just been coming back playing with Marty's band. We're not getting younger.
What would be your favourite story of the Unknown Blues Band? Would there be one, or there's plenty of them? I've heard of 1,000 of them.
I think Simon's got matching suits, and it was extremely conventional. And we came along and we kind of wore our street clothes on the stage, and they happened to be bright yellow jeans and pink jackets and hair down to here, and that which seems like nothing now, but in the mid-60s that was something. There was a very nice cop down here, his name was Frank Oliver. FO, fuck off. Used to think of it. I remember Barry and I got pulled up one day for walking down D Street beside each other for obstructing the footpath. Just because of how we looked. He said, you guys walk down the street again, you got to do it in single file. You look like Indians, act like them.
I lost my job once, and I went to get the dole in town, and they wouldn't give me the dole because my hair was too long. So I never ever applied for it again in my life, so to this day I've never been on the dole.
Well, we don't know what happened to the hair. See, now people think we're kind of nice because our hair fell out.
We're accepted.
Back then they wanted to kick the shit out of you, and it was purely on looks, but we loved it. You know, we were just teenagers, and it was like, okay, this is upsetting people, good. And the music was loud and it was noisy, and it was kind of preempted punk music in Invercargill, I suppose. We didn't think it was that. No. We were just young and raw and having a lot of fun. And the girls liked us.
I like the 12-bar side of it. Jimmy Reed,
The nice, easy songs to play.
Lightning Up.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But they're not easy to play, they're not easy to get
No.
the feel, and they're not easy to keep in the right time.
We're still trying to get it right.
We will-
Yeah,
we'll
so anyway, with the Unknown Blues, I suppose we had an initial little run where we were very popular. I don't know, it was kind of we came and had a look, and then we started getting more work in Dunedin than we did here, so most weekends we'd pack up, and often in cars, or we'd often put all our gear on the train and we'd be up playing at the Cellar Club on the midnight shift, and the alcohol on Saturday, the YMCA on Sunday afternoon, come back. And in those days you've got to realise music wasn't in pubs, it was in dance halls and in coffee bars, and I mean there was no alcohol. People just went out to hear music and have fun. It's a different world. And eventually no one would employ us anymore. They thought we were a bit rugged, and because the guys would walk in with their guitars over their shoulders and carrying empty guitar cases full of large bottles of Spates. We'd have them out the back, and we would consume them before we played, and sometimes during.
Yeah.
And then, am I bullshitting yet?
No, that's true. It's true.
He's going to stop me with bullshit. And later on we found out we hired a couple of halls, you know, what, at the Oropuki or somewhere like that.
Tuatepui we played.
And I worked as an apprentice compositor in the printing trade, so I printed up these little cards, the Southern Blues League, that looked like a football club, because we...
Oh no, that was out on the way to Bluff.
Yeah, down there. And we sold these for 50 cents each or something, got all this money, and we realised by doing this we'd hired our own hall. We're doing what all the promoters were doing, but we're in fact having a private function. So people were allowed to bring their own, and we had the only licensed gigs in town. We were all underage. Because they were like private functions, and we didn't know that we'd just accidentally discovered this loophole in the law, so they proved extremely popular with the people and the bands. So we were loved even more. And Frank Oliver locked us up again.
So back in the 60s, was there any rock groups or bands that you guys compared yourselves to?
Oh, you mean in New Zealand? New Zealand
Around the
band?
world?
Well, we were inspired by a lot of those English bands that did American blues music, like the Rolling Stones and the Pretty Things and that led to us to hearing Muddy Waters records and that, and we were just trying to play that music. I don't think we kind of thought we liked them or anything. We were just enjoying that sort of music and doing our very best to play it as to the best of our abilities. And we learned a lot along the way, and Vaughan, who's coming tomorrow, actually did a lot. He you know, he had been in bands before, and he showed us about...
As a drummer. He was a drummer.
A drummer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And he had a row with the band.
Yeah, they sacked him.
They sacked him, so he took a disliking to the band, so
Brian Lamb, the guitar
to get even
player.
with him, he went out and taught himself the guitar better than the lead guitar player that he
It was kind of a revenge thing.
Yeah.
And he knew we were mucking around trying to form a band, so he showed Rocket how to play bass. He taught me that if I'm playing in G, you've got to use the C harmonica and all these cross tunings and that, and he effectively whipped us into shape.
Yeah, he did.
And we ended up a pretty good band because of his expertise, but because we were coming like purely trying to teach ourselves, and